8:38, Big 550, KTRS. From Feast.com, Feast Magazine, Feast TV, Feast Radio, Feast Magazine, Feast webpage.
Feast everything.
Feast everything. Feast.com. Kat Neville, Feast Magazine publisher. Good morning, Feast.
Good morning.
Publisher from
Yeah,
Feast.
just call me Feast. I'm just going to legally change my name.
Feast Neville.
FeastSDL.com. Good morning, Kat Neville.
Good morning.
All right, let's get right to a couple restaurants here.
Okay.
What do you got?
So the first one, I've got some changes at some beloved spots, and I absolutely adore Four Hands Brewery. Their beers are amazing, and they recently released a can program, and they have this wonderful kind of like chocolate milk stout, all this kind of fun stuff. But inside, we've talked about this before. Inside of Four Hands Brewing, David Bailey operates a restaurant called The Fifth Wheel. And Kevin Lemp is the owner of Four Hands, and I guess he and David are good friends. And so when Kevin wanted to be able to serve food in his tasting room, he reached out to David, who obviously is well known for Rooster and Bridge and all that good stuff. Exactly. And so the menu just switched up, and they just started offering lunch. And so I wanted to make sure that we kind of like talked about that. They also, Four Hands also has a partnership with Goshen Coffee. And so Goshen Coffee, which is brewed in Edwardsville, Illinois, and it's great stuff, they are taking over the tasting room from 9 to 2 Monday through Friday. So if you want to go in for lunch, it doesn't have to be a beer-fueled lunch. You can have this wonderful locally roasted coffee. And then so they serve lunch 7 days a week now, and they have things like the Juicy Lucy, which is a cheese stuffed burger, which you said you just had a similar burger.
The Juicy Lucy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's stuffed with like Chihuahua cheese, and it's a grass-fed beef patty, because obviously David Bailey is very specific in his sourcing. I have a smoked turkey sandwich with cherry chutney and kale. They have a hot link, which is like a locally made brat with Creole sauce and a sprout salad, house-made buns. All the breads are house-made, which is wonderful. And then they also have just like pretzel bites with hot cheese dipping sauce. And when I was in there, I had to get 2 orders of the cheese, because I'm like, you can't just give a little thing of cheese.
That's right.
You're going to want more.
You go through it.
Right.
So anyway, the food is great, and it's meant to go with beer. It's very approachable, and what you do, it's interesting because it is a separate business inside of Four Hands. So you order your beer from the fabulous people behind the bar, but then you go to the window where they're inside of kind of the tiny kitchen in Four Hands, and you order and pay separately for the food through the window, and then they bring it
so it's kind of like a carry out, but yet you stay in the brewery.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out like fully plated and everything, but you just order it in a separate little spot. But the food's awesome. Yeah.
Where is Four Hands Brewery?
Four Hands is in the LaSalle Park neighborhood, and it's at 1220 South 8th Street. So if you know where the old Rock House is.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to turn, you can see the back side of Four Hands from the old Rock House. So you just kind of go up and around. It's kind of it's not an easily trafficked location. Like they're not on a main drag, but it's
sort
really
of under 44 there, right? Kind of.
Ish.
It's
that close.
Area.
It's close to the on-ramp to 44.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Four Hands Brewery, and they invented canned beer. You kind of
No,
buried
they
the
didn't
lead
invent
there.
canned beer. They recently started canning their beers.
Canning their beer.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They didn't invent it.
I was going to say, because canned beer, that'd be a great idea. Canned beer. Holy mackerel. All right. What's number 2?
Okay, so number 2, Juniper, which we talked about when they first launched. It's John Perkins' ode to Southern food, and so he essentially used to use the space, which is on Boyle in the Central West End, as a like a pop-up space, and he did a number of different concepts. And then I guess maybe it was even about a year ago, he decided to make it a permanent restaurant. He's calling it Juniper, and Southern staples like shrimp and grits and fried chicken and all that kind of pickles, all that kind of good stuff. Amazing cocktails, great wine list. So recently, I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago that Home Wine Kitchen was closing its doors. Home Wine Kitchen, it was a well-loved restaurant in Maplewood on Manchester, and the chef was Cassie Vyers. So she is now on board at Juniper. And it's really interesting because her style of cooking was already very kind of close to the style of what you find. It wasn't specifically Southern, but one of her specialties was shrimp and grits, and she did a lot of very seasonal cooking, but definitively American style food. And so she and John are now partnered up, and I had a chance to talk with her last night. She said that she's having the time of her life. She really loves working with John. And so the menu as it stands is going to be available for the next 2 weeks, and that includes things like the hot brown, which is thinly sliced turkey with that wonderful kind of like Mornay sauce and egg yolk on top of essentially what you could call like Texas toast. I know that it's not that, but to kind of like in your mind. They have the bunny biscuit, which is this house-made Southern style biscuit with like a rabbit confit on top. They have chicken and dumplings in a very modern style where it's like a chicken roulade with a smoked chicken broth and sweet potato dumplings.
I know, it's great.
And again, the fried chicken and so all of these really kind of like elevated in quotation marks Southern things. And what's interesting, when I talked to Cassie, I was like, okay, so when you change the menu, what are you going to be doing? She goes, well, a couple of things that I'm really excited about. And I took notes on this because I was really intrigued. They're very traditional low country dishes that I had never heard of. One is called the Country Captain, which is a chicken curry so all the boats that were coming into New Orleans that were coming from around the world to bring in goods that would be shipped all over the United States. So this is a chicken like a chicken curry, but they're going to be doing it with quail. And it includes like green peppers and currants and celery, and then they're going to be using quail as opposed to chicken again to kind of like make it a little bit different. And then it has the quail has like an orange curry glaze on top of it, and then that is going to have a Carolina Gold rice, and then Marcona almond gremolata kind of on top. So
that
again,
sounds delicious.
I know, and really unique, and something that I've never seen on a menu here in St. Louis. Quail. I love quail. It's delicious. And then another one that is really interesting is called a muddle, which is, again, a traditional low country seafood stew. And what they've done is they've gone out and sourced all these kind of small Le Creuset pans, and they're going to be serving it for two. And it's a layered stew where it's potatoes and clams and walleye and shrimp, and then a top layer of potato. And she said when the top layer of potato is done, everything is cooked through, and then they're going to crack a couple eggs on top and serve that up so that you're going to be able to crack through the egg yolk, and it's going to go. It just sounds lovely and creative and fun, and I'm excited.
So this is the restaurant is Juniper.
Yeah.
It's right across the street from Left Bank Books. Right?
No.
Oh.
Juniper is on Boyle in the Central West End. It's next to the West End Playhouse.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's exactly the right name, but
okay.
And a cute little clothing store that I
exactly
forgot.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right.
Okay. So this menu you were talking about, this is going to be there for a while, right? This isn't here today and gone in 2 weeks.
They'll have, things like their fried pickles are going to stay on the menu, but they're just doing a menu shift now that Cassie's in the kitchen, and these are some of the new items that they're going to be. These are some of the new
staples that are going to be there.
Exactly right.
Gotcha.
They're not getting rid of the fried chicken. That is not going to happen.
Gotcha.
And the shrimp and grits, anyone listening who was in love with Cassie's shrimp and grits at Home Wine Kitchen, she has brought that over, and she's now kind of using that style to make her shrimp and grits at Juniper.
It always amazes me, the creativity, the things that they come up with.
Well, and that's the fun part. If you just want to go and eat the same thing every day, what's the fun in that?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to try some of these new things.
What's going on with the rest of the World of Feast?
Oh my goodness. Well, we are once again and very happily sponsoring the Food and Wine Experience, which is January, the weekend of like January 24th. And so every year, pardon me, at the Chase Park Plaza. This is a huge wine event, and it is cannot miss. If you're a big fan of wine and you like to buy wine and keep it at home, like if you're not the kind of person that just maybe has a sip here and there,
right.
like me, I have a cellar. I like to stock it up. So what they do is they bring in wine distributors from around the country, and so you can taste hundreds of different wines, and you can buy it by the case at this event at just above wholesale prices. And so the partner in this event is Schnucks, and so Schnucks is partnered up to benefit the rep, and about 5,000 people come to this event every year over that weekend. And there are a couple of different levels of admission. You can have general admission, which is like in that ballroom. I think it's the Coruscant Ballroom at the Chase. And then if you do the VIP, which I highly recommend, you're going to be downstairs, and it's an elevated level of quality of the wine.
And you can get whatever wine that you like that day.
No.
Okay.
You will put in an order, and then you can go and pick it up at Schnucks, and so you'll just pay for it. And you
can taste it? You can taste it.
You taste wine all day long.
Right.
You'll be given you'll be given a little notebook where you can take all the notes that you want to. There's lots of food, and it's just a great event, and I'm really excited to be part of it because and there's also Missouri wines will be available for tasting there as well. And again, it benefits the Repertory Theater of St. Louis, which is such a cultural icon in St. Louis.
When is this?
It is the weekend of January the 24th. So just a couple of weeks.
Which is, not this weekend, the next weekend.
Exactly. And it is ticketed. So if you go to feastmagazine.com, you can find out information. And then if you go to the Reps website, you're going to be able to find information. And
food too?
Yeah, you can't just drink all day with nothing in your stomach.
Kelly Jackson
You're going to need like a million cabs outside.
Yeah. Well, it is in a hotel.
Yes.
So if you decide.
That is true.
Yes. But it really is one of my absolute favorite events every year. So I will be there, and I'm going to be looking out for you.
There you go. Feaststl.com. And the next...
No, feastmagazine.com.
Feastmagazine.com. And when's the next magazine hit the newsstands?
It will be at the very beginning of February.
Okay, so
January's out. It's our Tastemakers issue.
Right.
And just as a reminder, we've got that Josh Galliano dinner at the end of the month, and we're close to being sold out.
There you go.
So
feaststl.com for all your information. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to Feast so that it shows up at your doorstep, right?
Exactly right.
So you don't have to then knock over the old ladies at the newsstand to get your free copy.
We will mail it to you.
There you go. Kat Neville, have yourself a good week.
Thank you.
You got it. 8:50. By the way, the 2 was Juniper on Boyle in the Central West End and Four Hands Brewery in, I want to call it Soulard, but you call it the
LaSalle Park. It's not in
LaSalle
Soulard.
Park. So it's just outside of Soulard.
Yes.
In downtown St. Louis. 8:51. Big Five.